said, how was your event? And I was like, wait, what do you mean? We're not done. So here we are.
Gotta love technology. Gotta love technology, you guys. You roll with it. Happy Tuesday. Come on back. We're going to have a fun conversation. I promise you it's going to be worth it.
I promise. Okay, so everyone that's joining us, we are talking with Drew Rios about her new video that we just launched for February. And then we're going to talk a little bit about, we talked about how she got started in the biz. So we won't redo that one. But we're going to talk about collaboration and Valentine's Day. We're going to talk a little bit about COVID. We're going to talk about designer's block and just answer any other questions that you have along the way. So I'm going to throw out this next question, Drew, and then I'm going to go over to the other Facebook video and post the link for this new one there so people know where to find us since we just abruptly left them. Gotta love it. So, all right. So our next question is, so I know last time we chatted, Drew, we talked about your collaboration with Whithazen and others. Can you briefly describe the collaboration for those who missed last month's show? And then let us know how your Valentine's Day holiday went for Rogan Fox. I would love to hear about that.
Definitely, definitely. So the collaboration that Whit and I had, it actually went so incredibly well. We had so much love and so many great orders from people who just wanted to actually order for themselves. It actually really was not geared toward Valentine's Day, even though it was around that period of time. It really was to be able to show people that there's more community and there's more goodness in community over competition. And it's funny because we couldn't really think of a lot of examples of a lot of florists that kind of collab together to really come together and join forces like that. So I said, well, you know what? She had approached me one day and said, there's this flower company that kind of approached me to do something around this, Black History Month. And I just didn't feel comfortable. Something didn't sit right with me. And I said, well, why don't we do a collaboration? If they're monetizing off of us and they see how great we are, why are we not monetizing ourselves and showing people what forces can come together and to be able to put something out there? And we wanted to do it whole soul. So we wanted to, bring in some amazing creatives. Christina Bing, District LA, Nicole Bakes Cakes. We wanted to bring in these amazing designers who do great things in and of themselves and collaborate and make something that meant something with really cool creatives. So we did really, really well. I actually was surprised. I know a lot of us probably had a lot more competition this year because a lot of people have gone over to a business model of maybe doing deliveries. So maybe florists who have been more into events are now into doing more deliverables. So there was a lot more competition this year. So, and I kind of knew that was probably going to happen. So what I did, I decided to say, hey, let's do a really cool promo video around this so people can see the heart and what we're doing. So I got my amazing friend, Ben Shani from Ben Shani Productions. We did a really cool little collab video and just had fun with it, just so that people can really see the human side of these things. It's not just about selling you something. It's about, putting your heart into something and showing the creatives and putting a face behind what you're actually purchasing. So I think honestly, doing a really cool promo video and really promoting it is what probably led to that success. And we did not pay for a promotion. We didn't do a sponsored anything. We just said, let's just see what happens when we really put out a really cool video where you see our faces and you see our goofy selves acting like fools, but talking about a really cool thing. And we did really well. We did well. We did better actually than I thought we were going to. So that was good.
No, that's great. Are you the kind of person that predicts or forecasts what it's going to be and set goals and then kind of measure it that? Or are you kind of we're just going to do this, let's wing it, let's go?
No. So I actually definitely project where we may be. I don't do sales goals though, just because I do feel like, I don't know. I think when I do certain collabs like this, especially, I didn't have a specific goal, but around this time of year when sales are usually through the roof, we do have certain projections and we have certain expectations. So if we did double this year, but we know there might be a little bit of a curve, I think we downgraded our projections by about a quarter.
Right.
So yeah, we go into every single event, especially during a time of year when people are buying a lot of flowers, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, all these fun things, right? Secretary's Day. We have all these charted to see what we've done in years past. And then we try and do things a little bit differently to kind of counteract maybe a few obstacles that might hit us, like COVID, just a little snowstorm. Yeah, just a little baby
Yeah.
obstacles, right? No big deal.
Right. Yeah, and so everyone that's watching, I'd love to hear how your Valentine's Day went for you guys. I saw a lot of success stories across the country. I also saw a lot of people that just said we couldn't even, get anything out. It was not good because of that. So I'd love to hear from you guys on how it all went. But I love hearing your guys' stories, including yours, Drew. Thank you.
Yeah. It's funny. I was actually thinking a lot about those who got snowed in and what would I have done, because it came just so suddenly. We hear stories of people who bought a bunch of flowers, projected it was going to be fine, and all of a sudden got crazy snowed in, lost power, all this crazy stuff. And I think in that area, you really have to say, okay, is it worth it to really push? What can we do around this, right? I actually heard some stories of those who literally went on foot, talking with their neighbors and trying to kind of sell some of the florals that they had locally, like old school, right? Knocking on doors, kind of doing that whole thing just to try and get that product out, because what are you going to do with it, right?
Yeah.
And just cheering up the neighborhood and all of us, lost power, all these things. It was something to kind of have cheerful for them. So I heard a few stories of people literally just hoofing it, getting out there and just going door to door. It was crazy, but sometimes you do what you got to do if you really want something,
Yeah. I love that story. That's pretty amazing. That's very good. Just got to be tenacious.
If you really want it, you can always get it, come rain or shine.
Yes,
Crazy.
exactly. All right. So I had another question from a viewer wanting to know how to start targeting more of the luxury end of business. So what marketing techniques do you suggest to get more of these types of leads, Drew?
So it's funny because luxury weddings and luxury design are very different from a lot of the bespoke, right? A lot of bespoke design, kind of more abstract design. So if you want to attract that type of clientele and attract the planners, because the key I'm discovering with those is the planners really hold a lot of that power. Usually when a couple is coming in and they've, got quite a bit of money to kind of play with on terms of their design, they usually will always have some type of a full scale planner, especially to plan something that large and extravagant, right? So if you want to be able to jump into that field, even though it's a little expensive to do so, I always recommend putting out the type of work that you want to attract. So if you haven't gotten anybody yet to really kind of, bank on you and bet on you, doing a styled shoot, that is exactly the type of clientele that you would want to put out. Every single shoot that I do, and that's actually very rare these days because they are, quite timely and expensive. But when I do decide to do a shoot, I start off first with, well, who is this targeting and who is my target demographic? Who is spending the most money with me? So I go through all the people who have reached out to me through Instagram and Facebook and everything else. And I'm like, okay, well, who is this demographic? Who are they? How old are they? What part of the country are they coming from? What part of California are they coming from? And then I dig into, well, what are they listening to? What do they like? What colors are they wearing? Who are they following? I dig in. We really, really dig in because you have to really get into the heads of the people who are purchasing your stuff. What makes them like you? What other things are they following as well? So start off by knowing who your demographic is and then putting out something that appeals to them. So if you're appealing to a luxury, you have beautiful roses everywhere. You have really gorgeous, installations and beautiful, maybe pillars of roses and hydrangea and all that great stuff, right? You're going to have to put that out there. So you're going to have to do a shoot or do some type of something that puts it out there that you can do that. Especially jumping into that luxury field, reaching out to planners once you have done something like that and showing them what you can do. That's the first, I think the probably the greatest key that I would recommend jumping into that field, because it's not an easy field to get into. Planners have to know that they can trust you, that you can deliver on the day of. And if you're brand new, you really got to kind of show them what you can do so they can gamble on you. So
Right. Great advice. Thanks, Drew. So let's talk. I feel like we've been talking about COVID for it's almost a year now.
And it isn't going anywhere, sadly.
It isn't. So let's talk about it again.
Let's do it. Yay. COVID's our best friend. Terrible.
It's still here with us.
Still there.
And so Drew, I just wanted to get your feedback from your perspective. How is your year looking? Are you doing anything differently to prepare for dealing with a pandemic like long term? I think a lot of people are thinking 2021 would come along, the vaccine's going to come along, and then poof, everything just goes back to normal. But I
Yeah.
feel like that's not really what's going to happen. And so I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts there.
So first and foremost, I put that idea completely out of my head because the future is just so uncertain that people say, "Oh, well, in 2021 it'll be gone. We can do this, we
Right.
can do that." Well, what if it doesn't? Oh,
Hmm.
2022, it's going to be gone and it's going to be fabulous and we're going to have all these weddings booking cool. Well, what if it don't? You have to literally pretend like this is going to be here for all of eternity. You have no idea when the end is going to be. So you have to prepare for right now. So back in 2020, right, a couple months ago, when we're having to do our projections, and our projections are all over the place because of that pandemic, but we set certain goals and we said, okay, well, what do we need to do differently this year? So heck yeah, I'm doing something differently. I have a whole bunch of tricks up my sleeves this year that I am literally lining up that we are actually working on right now that you guys are going to start seeing. A lot of people are on the internet right now in insane amounts of droves. Don't
Yeah.
believe me? Go to a comment section on anytime anybody posts anything, and you got a bunch of keyboard warriors just talking all day trash and being all up in the business, right? You have a lot more people who are very much on their phones a lot. So I said, okay, we're going to make sure that we form a lot of content of what we're doing to formulate people who are on the internet all the time. So I have a series of pods of, I wouldn't say style shoots, but they are technically styled shoots, but we're taking a very different approach to a traditional styled shoot and kind of marching to the tune of my own drum a little bit. A lot of the styled shoots that you saw before were great that I did that were super fun and cool. But I knew that I wanted to take this into a little bit of a different area because a lot of weddings now are non-traditional. So we decided to do was we have these little pods coming in through where I'm doing some marketing and doing some videos of the type of work that I want to attract. Putting out more, streamlining my delivery service a little bit more and actually having a complete separate branch off because it's very difficult for me to do both.
Right.
Little hard to do that. So this year we're really definitely targeting still doing more delivery, still doing all of that good stuff. The marketplace that we have, which is still doing very well. We still got a little orders trickling in, even though we haven't put out anything brand new, but we're actually going to be doing capsules instead of a big old huge collection and carrying a whole bunch of inventory and waiting for it all to sell down. We're doing smaller capsules now. And once it's gone, that's the wrap.
That's
Have
it.
a nice day. That's it. So it makes people want to have to hurry up and purchase it and grab it from these really cool LA designers and all over the country. Actually, we're bringing in some really cool designers on this one, but we're staggering the capsules and we're making sure we send out our newsletters to let people know who are subscribed if they get early access to it or not. So creating a sense of urgency with anything that you're doing, people are just love it. It's just like an adrenaline rush of trying to get that cool piece. So
Right.
that's
I
very
love it.
different. It's very different than what we are kind of trained to do and kind of been doing, but we're kind of testing it out in little markets and it's doing well.
That's great, Drew. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm excited to see everything else that you have planned for the rest
It's
of the
gonna
year that I know you can't talk about yet.
I can't talk about it yet, but it is coming really fairly quickly. It's coming quickly. It's funny. I think when you guys scroll that down in my Instagram too, you really see this evolution. And I think you might see a little point where I lose my mind a little bit. Apparently, right? Lots of fun color and just going just crazy with these installations and having fun with it and trying to make work that's just different and out of the box. You guys, there's no rhyme or reason to anything I'm doing other than it's in my imagination and I'm doing it because I said so. Moment of
That
silence
works.
for that. Moment of silence for that. Like that's really what it is. Sometimes, when projections aren't exactly clear or things that are popular and trends aren't 100% apparent, sometimes it's time to just sit back and say, you know what do I want to say here? Now it's my time to shine and kind of do something unique and kind of different and really stick out because I don't have some other designers telling me what's in and what isn't, you know?
Right.
It's a good feeling, Yvonne. It's a really cool, good feeling. And I think you guys should pay attention to that and rest into that. Find your voice and see what you want to say, because nobody else is going to tell you it's not right. It's cool.
Yeah.
Having a good
Very
time.
cool. I love it. Oh, so good. All right. So you're talking about all these creative ideas, Drew. Is there a time that you get designer's block, and your creativity is not flowing? What do you do to like get it going again? And this comes in from IOBet, which is
Nice.
also Val from Carlsbad.
Hi, Val. How are you, girl? Love you. Yeah, actually, there are times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so stuck. I don't know what I want to do next. But here's what I do, which is totally crazy. I form these really cool ideas, and then I like do a snapshot of it, or I journal it down, or I write it down, and then I store it away. So even if I may not have a need for it right this second, if I thought the idea was cool at that moment, I write it down so that I don't forget it. I have like this crazy, I can just show you my crazy little journals. I feel like I got to make them kind of fun. This crazy little journal of like ideas that I just kind of write down so that I don't miss a beat. So that if I'm ever finding like, oh gosh, I'm just not inspired, I don't know what to do, I'll go back in my book and see other little past designs that I may have loved and say, oh, wow, that's a cool take on that. Or, hey, that's really, really cool. I love doing that. Love doing that. You hear my dog? Did you just
It's so good.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's kind of like how people who write lyrics and stuff, like, or artists like sketch and, songwriters write down just like little bits and pieces that pop into their heads. So that's really, really cool.
Listening to music is super helpful too, by the way. I love listening to music and just kind of doing something that has nothing to do with flowers.
Right.
That way I can kind of stimulate a lot of the creativity. I look at memes, sometimes I take an hour a day to look at memes and just laugh, just to kind of get it out of my system and focus on something that isn't business related, isn't flower related,
Yep.
which is really awesome. Yeah, keeps the ideas kind of flowing.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. All right. So before we get into the questions about the video, I just wanted to read a couple of the comments because they're just fun. And everyone's been really lovely. Once in a while we'll get some, some mean people, but everyone's been really great so far. So I love that.
Don't be
yes.
Nobody got time.
Crazy. Floral in Vine Design says, Drew, I love this. Love, love, loved. I love art florals, and you create such a great piece, beautiful florals, and you create so effortlessly. I love the fun and enthusiasm you have creating. That's how I feel with really great floral color and texture. It thrills me. Thanks for sharing this awesome piece. So good. And I wanted to read that because usually it's like we get like maybe, a couple words or whatever, which is still amazing. I love those guys. Don't get me wrong. But when someone takes the time to like write out a full paragraph, I feel like we should share that. So
that's actually super sweet. I appreciate that. I love that.
Right.
Thank you for sharing that. It keeps me going when I hear comments like that. Like, oh, that wasn't such a crazy off the wall idea. Oh, I guess it worked. Okay. I'm not kidding you guys. When I do these things, I don't have anything in mind other than I know this will be successful because it's successful for me. Maybe it might be successful for you too. It's just a different take and a different voice and trying to change something up. That's all. That's the only inspiration behind that. Let me change this up. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And then just another fun one, and it literally made me laugh out loud when I like starting my morning one day. But it's from Ayana, and she says, "Here for the wall, but stayed for the outfit." So,
okay,
isn't
girl,
that so cute?
We got to flex on him. We got to drip on him a little bit, drip, drip.
Yes, drip, drip.
I get a lot of comments on a lot of the things that I wear right now because. You guys, I like color. Have some fun with some color. Just,
I wear color for you today, just so you know, Drew.
Well, you look Miss Miami. Thank you, Miss Miami. I love that. Cute and such.
I love it. Okay, so let's get into some of the questions. I had a bunch sent in from Marla. And guys, again, if you're listening, I feel like I lost a few of you guys from when we were originally on, so still I feel bad about that. But hopefully you'll catch the replay. But if you have any questions while we're talking, go ahead and post them in the comments. I did put a link for the videos that if you guys haven't watched Drew's February video, you can check that out. It's the floral art wall piece that she created. And so Marla wants to know how you prepare for a large scale design. Do you plan ahead, sketching an outline? And do you keep with familiar products?
You know what? Yeah, I do sketches, but I mainly write down what the feeling I want to have when I look at it. I know that kind of sounds crazy, but I ask my clients, okay, do I have creative freedom to kind of surprise you? That's first and foremost. Some clients like to be surprised. Most of them love to be surprised. Others like, well, we need to kind of know what's going to happening. And I go completely with the flow of my client. That being said, I definitely do cool little sketches, and I change it a good 5 or 6 times. And sometimes even a couple weeks before. If I feel like it needs to take a little bit of a different direction, I just go with it because I want to be inspired when I look at these pieces. So I have a general idea and a general sketch of what I'm going to do. I usually have already put in an order with my reps so that we have a loose idea. But I tell them, hey, you know what? We're not going to put the full order in yet. I want to make sure that this is something that I really want to stick to, that I'm really feeling. And my reps know, okay, don't put in a full order for Drew because she is known to 100% change this up 2 to 3 weeks before. Kill me. So that's why I kind of make sure that I have general ideas of flowers, but man, you guys, Mayesh be killing me. You guys will constantly put in some really cool stuff that I never even seen before, or different varieties, or you grab the varieties at different seasons or peaks, and it looks completely different than what it did last year. So the cool thing about, allowing you to kind of have a little bit looser of a time picking out florals is I allow my reps to really have fun with it. They know my style. They know that I want some really cool different stuff. All I ask is that they keep me in my budget because I don't mess around when it comes to numbers. I can't be messing around when it comes to my numbers, y'all, because then my year's all messed up. So yeah, I ask them, hey, I need to stick to a certain budget. I send them some general inspiration and I say, let's have fun with it. And then I come in and I fine tune what I love and what I don't. But there is a little bit too of flying by the seat of your pants when you do get to the venue. I know what I'm getting myself into installation wise, so I know what will stand up. But I do let the flowers talk to me. I want to see, okay, in my head, I know how this is going to go. But what happens when you put something down and then one of your Cecropia leaves completely crumbles? Well, then what are you going to do? So you have to be able to kind of pivot and allow the flowers to really speak to you and kind of do your thing. So I have a general idea. I know the materials that I have, but just like when you paint a picture, sometimes even if you try and duplicate what you last did, it's still a little bit different. Maybe you might lose a little blue, a little bit more blue, a little bit more yellow. So I kind of act like I am painting when I do these on-site installations. Yeah, it's super fun.
Very cool.
I hope that answered and then what it was even about.
You answered it. Planning ahead, sketching, outlining, keeping with familiar products. You touch based on all of that.
All right, good.
Yeah, I'm listening. You just wanted to test me, didn't you? Marla also wants to know, how long do you leave for setup and install of your designs? I'm imagining it probably depends on the size of them, but maybe like keeping with this like floral wall art piece that you created.
Yeah. So I've pretty much know how fast me and my team works based off of the type of design, just based off of just years of experience, you guys. That's really all that it is. And I just learned that based off of just plain old experience. I see how long it takes for certain designers to do certain things. I watch. So wherever we are sitting back and we're able to look at the installations being done, I'm able to see each of my freelancers and see what they're doing right and what they're kind of doing differently. I never say wrong because I like to have them have a different take on whatever they're doing. So, I have one working on one section, maybe one working on the other, and then I'm jumping in and adding in and kind of editing accordingly. But I do allow it time to be able to kind of just stand back and kind of see where it's going to go. So I ask my planners to make sure the venues give me the ample amount of time so that I have creative time to have fun with it. Maybe even do it behind the scenes. Sometimes venues will give us about 2.5 to 3 hours, which I'm just like, All right. But I prefer 4 because we want to mess around and have some fun. That's it. Have creative control, have enough time to kind of pivot in case something goes completely wrong. If somebody else messes up and then kind of pushes ourselves back, it puts more stress if you have a shorter period of time, but you can work in very short periods of time. So I like to give myself ideally 3.5 to 4 hours. That's ideal for me. Ideal. Maybe grab a little sip of wine in the car just to hang out a little bit and then go back and just hang out and do our thing. I like to not be rushed. But if I am rushed and I know it's a really short time frame, I get as many pieces of the installation or the pieces done beforehand. I try not to do as much on site because that does give a little bit of unpredictability in terms of timing if something does go wrong and then you look like the fool. So you really give yourself as much time as the venue will allow, the max time. And if they're like, oh, can you just do this in a short period of time? Well, when does the venue open? That's what I ask. What time is the earliest vendor can they get there? Oh, they can get there at that time. Great. I'm coming at that time. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you for playing. Thanks for playing. So yeah, that's what I do.
Very good. And last question from Marla. She wants to know, how long do these designs typically last?
I don't know what it is. These designs last me for an eternity, at least a solid week after I even put them together. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the conditioning process of the flowers. And I mean the live flowers too. I'm not talking about the dried flowers. I'm talking about the live flowers. Most of the installations that I do are actually not water sourced. They're not. I specifically try and choose varieties that look great out of water. And if they start to dehydrate, they still take really cool forms, or they can rest as they start to droop. They can rest on other pieces that still kind of keeps their head kind of hanging up right here, right? Because it saves time. It just does. So if you have blooms, like people think, oh, you absolutely have to water source a sweet pea. No, you don't. That baby will last you for days out of water. It's the craziest thing. I don't know what's going on with these crazy Mayesh imports, but they last a good long while and keep their form and their beautiful color. And they really just do some great things. So choosing varieties that will last a good long while outside of water. And if you don't, then I water source. But even when I do, they last me several days and still look beautiful. I think you guys just have to keep in mind that it's meant to be alive and beautiful for the day of the event. So even if the day after it looks like a hot mess, that's perfectly fine. Did it get through the wedding? Does it look amazing in photos? Your job is done. That's it. So yeah, they last a good long while. Every last thing I do, and I think it's because of the hydrating process. I just want to talk about this super quick. I hydrate in 2 ways. Sometimes just throwing water in the buckets with some flower food. And then I actually use a lot of the chamber, the hydration chamber method for a lot of stuff. And it feels at first a little crazy. It feels like, oh my God, it's going to die. No, I'm going to come into the cooler. It's going to be dead. But I promise you guys, it's actually a technique I learned from my dad years ago, to take like some Tupperware or take like a big old huge bin with the plastic little top. You can get them at Target. Lay down some paper towels that are drenched in water. Lay your florals down. Pop that the top on, throw it in the cooler. It's like magic. They just stay beautiful, puffed up with water, and they're hydrated, and they last me an eternity. They're so great.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like we need to do a video on that.
Oh, it's the coolest thing. You know who Passion Flower Sue McCleary has a cool little section of that when she talks about that in her books and blogs and a lot of her tutorials. Oh, it's amazing. But this has been around for decades, and she just is making it the coolest, most popular thing on the planet. And I'm like, yeah, Sue, talk about it. It's great. And people don't think that you can do it. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I also wanted to let you guys know that I shared our reliable products for large scale design, which was put together by Sue McCleary, speaking of her. And we just made it a pretty download for y'all. So we kind of collaborated on that. It got brought up in during our workshop in Quito, Ecuador, back when we used to travel. And everyone was like, oh, we want that as a PDF that we can download and keep. So we created that for all of you guys. You can go check that out on our website. Penny, hi, Penny. It's nice that you made it. Glad that you made it. Penny wants to know, do you use alum? Is that how you pronounce it? To help stem drink?
I actually don't. I actually don't. I find that just using, so there's a flower food. I think it's like an instant hydrating food. And I want to say it's by Floral.
Yeah.
It's an instant hydrator. I literally just use that for my hydrangea. I know I've heard things about using the alum first, and you put the stem in that first, and then you can dunk it in the water, because you have to kind of rehydrate and make sure it comes alive, especially for those who get their florals delivered. I've definitely used that in the past. I have. But what I've actually been doing that I've actually found a lot of success with is I have been getting a lot of my flowers as fresh as possibly can be. I think you guys are having to do that because when you guys get your deliverables in, they're completely dehydrated and look like crap. And so you got to use that alum to allow it to kind of hydrate more efficiently. So you definitely can use that. I personally just don't have to because I am near a flower market, so I can get fresh hydrangea and they're puffed up and ready to go. And I just kind of dunk them in my water. But yes, I have used it in the past for my stems that are just fresh out of the box, just coming directly in, especially those box lots, right? Coming in from Miami.
Yep.
Totally use that for sure for certain stems. Most stems don't need it. But I have used it, especially with hydrangea for sure. And phlox. Phlox, for some reason, it responds very well to putting it in the alum first and then dunking it in the water. Phlox is a little temperamental little girl, I tell you.
Very good. Very good. So some other people were posting too. So Susan says floral ice quick dip.
Yeah, the floral
100?
ice quick dip 100. Although, you know what's funny with that? I've actually tried that too. No, I'm talking no shade. I mean, it works for some people and for others, I don't know. I've heard some mixed reviews about that. I want to say that alum is probably the most consistent when it comes to, hearing good stories about it.
Right. And she meant floral life, not floral ice. I was like, I don't understand the ice thing. That would be why.
Yeah, Susan, the quick dip for sure. I've used it before too. I just had better success with the alum, but you guys try it out and see what makes sense to you. I don't want to lose this question because there was a question that a Jason Lloyd had.
I'm gonna get to it. I didn't lose it. Yeah. And then so someone else said quick dip, and Rick said crowning glory too. So you gotta try out what works for you. There's so many different great products out there by all the companies, and a lot of them are like always partner with them. So we love all of them. So you just gotta try it out. I did post a link to our flower cure guide if you guys want that too, and we go over a lot of the major things that we get a lot of questions on there. So one day we'll probably have to go and update that because I'm sure there's more. But go ahead and check that out.
Love it.
All right, let's get to the question from Jason. He says, how did you get a rep that you vibe with so well?
Ooh, we're going to spill some tea today. Good mom and wife have come to play. We're going to spill some tea and get real with it. So I actually got a lot of feedback when we did, we talked about the reps and having a good relationship with reps. And how do you pick the right one, and how do you make sure, it's good? And sometimes I'm not really gelling with my rep and all that fun stuff, right? And we really broke it down. So we're going to do a quick little breakdown of that. I went through a few little reps. I did, because you guys, if you know me, I have a little bit of a personality. And when I say something, what? And you guys, we're all literally, real talk, we're all human here. Certain ones gel with certain people.
I pulled up the latest for World.
Oh God, is that
from UPI.com? Chinese editor calls British politician deranged after Olympic boycott call.
We're just having a day over here.
British politician.
It's not Siri. What is it?
2022 Winter Olympics.
Alexa?
Alexa, cancel.
From Reuters, new Ebola
hold on.
DR Congo pose regional risk. Guinea and the Democratic Republic of Congo
lots of technical fun
fresh
today.
outbreaks of Ebola have killed at least 4 people, amid fears the virus could spread across the region.
Hey Alexa, cancel.
From Reuters, Mexico to raise concerns at UN over unequal vaccine access.
Hey Alexa, cancel.
Mexico will this week raise concerns at the United Nations.
We're getting a news update.
Right.
We're doing a mix of mornings with Mayesh and news.
Oh my gosh, you guys, that is freaking hysterical. All these stupid Alexas and all this series, they just listen to everything that you guys ever say. So don't be talking a mess and don't freaking say you're gonna bomb a building because they will pick up on every last thing.
They totally do. Oh my goodness.
Okay, what
They
am
so
I
do.
saying right now? This is the best live Mayesh mornings I think I've ever done in my entire life. We got dogs barking, 6-year-olds coming in saying they're thirsty and hurt their finger. We got Alexa listening to all of our stuff. You guys, I hope you're having fun this Tuesday.
Yeah, our show ending after 2 minutes and having to restart. It's been good.
This is the most fun I've had on a Tuesday. I'm like crying laughing because it's so fun.
Just gotta roll with it.
Okay, what was the question, girlfriend? What was the question?
We are talking about vibing with reps. How do you find someone to vibe with? And you were talking about how you've gone through a few people.
I've gone through.
You have personality.
I have a fun little personality, and I'm sure all of you guys do too. So I did go through a few different different reps just based off of my needs. And it's funny because, I'm not encouraging you necessarily to do that. But if you see other reps that are really just hands-on with a lot of their people, or you see just kind of different flower pools, before you change your rep, have a conversation with them and say, hey, these are kind of the needs that I have. Here, let me show you kind of the style that I have. I promise you, every single rep that you will literally find will listen to that feedback. And yes. I would always ask yourself, well, if they're not giving you 100% of the feedback that you want, could it be that the approach is that you're acting like they're order takers? So let it go two ways, right? I've heard a lot of feedback on, well, I don't know if I really gel with it. I'm not really sure. Well, I say, okay, well, open up the lines of communication. And I open up the lines of communication, say, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking for. I'd like for you to do this, or I'd like for you to do that. Right. And certain ones have different strengths, certain high points, are better at certain things than others. And it's perfectly fine because, again, we are literally all people. You just have to find the one that you really, truly gel with. And I think it honestly just comes down to personality. Who can handle Drew's fiery personality and come in and be able to do an amazing job and have her just super happy and helpful that we did that. So, yeah, I literally went through about maybe just 2 reps, and it literally had nothing to do with anything bad. It was just, I think my personality gels more with this. And I'm finding that when I'm able to, pose this question, or I'm able to ask for these certain orders, they're able to be very consistent and they're happy to see me. That's you. Okay. You my best friend now. You my best friend. So I think for those who can actually go into markets, right, and really have a conversation with the reps, I think that's kind of where it plays into. But for those who don't, there are still reps who are assigned to your accounts that when you actually place orders, it isn't just necessarily a blind thing, and it doesn't have to be, right? You could easily call whatever branch is sending you those flowers. So if it's LAX, or if it's Phoenix, if you have other branches that are kind of sending you flowers in different places, call them. Hey, I'm really looking for a cool rep that can vibe with me. Can you recommend a few? And usually you'll probably talk to a manager, the manager on the floor. And they'll usually maybe pair you with the rep, and you can talk to them first. Go through an interview process if you want to. See if you kind of vibe a little bit. That's perfectly fine to do. Everybody at Mayesh is really, really cool and does really, really well. But just go with who you feel the most comfortable with, because they're all incredibly helpful. It's just that others maybe gel better with others, and it's perfectly fine. And they're not going to fire you for that. It's fine. It's all good.
Exactly. Everyone has different energy levels and has different needs and things like that. So that totally makes sense. It's the same, just like with any other kind of interpersonal relationship that you have.
Totally. And be nice. Just be really nice, you guys. I mean, that job is not easy. It's not an easy job. Crazy early wake up times and processing flowers and getting in orders. Like you think our job is rough, their job is rough. So be kind when you're walking in, smile. Hi, how's it going? How are you doing today? Oh yes, woke up early. Oh my gosh, let's get it in, right? Be nice. Have a conversation.
I love it.
We're people. There you go. That's all I have to say on that one.
I love it. I might make that into a little audio clip.
I love it. Just be nice. And I'm really nice too. Not like, oh, hi, good morning. Hi, can you get me this? Oh, hi, yeah, hi, good morning. Hi, I need these roses. Well, how much is this? Good morning to you. Oh, how you doing? Well, thank you. My day was great. Be nice, people. Be treated how you want. Treat people how you want to be treated. And I think you'll see a little bit of a different take on some things.
So good. So good. I have one more question about the design video, and then we can go. I think there's a couple more questions in the comments. Um, so this question we get pretty much every single time we have a video or any kind of design. People want to know, how much would you price that at, the floral wall art piece?
Yeah. So that floral art piece was actually pretty large, you guys. I want to say it was like a 24 by 48. It was pretty big.
Right.
So because of all that, and even though again, I'm not an artist, there was a lot of time that still went into that and a lot of great floral choices. If you guys saw the florals that were being picked, they're not the cheapest. They're not the cheapest. So that was going to range me between 1,000 to 1,500. And before you guys are like, oh, what? Oh my goodness. You guys ever walk into an art studio where you have an artist who's been doing art for an insane amount of years and they charge 7,000, 5,000, 10,000 for their pieces because it's interpretive art?
Right.
You guys can charge based off of your general area. And only you can determine what you want to price something like that off because it is subjective. However, just plain old business 101 still took me a certain period of time to complete the paint, still had to purchase materials. And even though I'm not a professional painter, right, I am still an artist. So I'm going to price it accordingly. And that's not a piece that anybody can get just by walking into any store. You grab it from Hobby Lobby and that's it. That's it. That's not it. So you do need to price something like that higher because it takes more time. And it's a very precious commodity. So treat it as such and you can garner more money for those types of pieces for sure. And I think that's just starting, by the way, a starting price point of 1,000 to 1,500. Yeah, don't bother going below that. You're going to devalue yourself for sure.
Very good. And I feel like what you created too, like if you're creating it for a client and they're going to put it in their home or something like that, that's something then you can like be like, well, I offer this service and I can update it, every month or every 2 weeks or every week or whatever it is. And then you have that kind of income coming in.
It's true. And
consistently.
I'm going to probably do like a little Mayesh takeover at some point in time. Surprise. So that where we actually show you guys the piece now. We're going to show you guys what it looks like literally 2-3 months later after we made it live. Because all you haters who were like, now this is going to look like trash. Oh my goodness, she didn't water source this. Well, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like now so I can, you can call my bluff. It still looks cool. So I'll show you guys what we did and who it went to.
I can't wait. I see Kim Durr on here a few times making some comments. Earlier, she was talking about how she will definitely be hiring you and your team in the future. I'm so glad that you're not like anyone else. I love it. And then she just said, wow, that's an incredible price. I was shocked it wasn't more for that piece.
And again, because it's a starting point. It is a starting point. Look at the size. Look at the number of materials went into it. Again, if you're a professional artist and you're really good, says other people, or yourself, whatever, you can charge more for that. You can totally charge more for that, 100%. But that's just where it is a good starting point. Please don't come in with a piece like that and say it's $500 because there's a lot of time and money that went into that piece. But thank you. I guess that means that I should be valuing it a little bit more. Oh, hi. I heard that. Thank you.
So good. All right. I see one last question in here. It's not necessarily floral related. It's because it sounds like Jennifer is a photographer. Let me put it up here so you can read it. She says, as a photographer, how do I get to work with floral designers and wholesalers? Or do you all have in-house photographers or do it yourselves?
Oh, I think she's coming in from like a business perspective of trying to photograph our work. Ooh, that is super cool. Florists are always looking for photographers to kind of photograph their work, maybe even outside of a setting of doing a styled shoot, because styled shoots are very time consuming and the whole 9 yards. So, oh my gosh, offering your services. I know it sounds a little crazy, like you slip in that little DM a little bit, slip in that little DM, but sometimes even slipping in the DMs or sending an email to a couple of florists that you love their work and say, hey, I would love to be able to photograph this. A lot of times it could be something as little as offering something for a discount so that you can build up that relationship and have it be something that's repetitive. Wholesalers, you got to reach out to the wholesalers. Find the wholesalers in your area that actually photograph florals, and actually put them on their websites, because that's honestly why they would need a photographer, to put it on their websites, kind of really put pictures out there. Contact them literally directly. Go on to Mayesh. Hey, who does your photography? Hey, I'd love to be able to offer this and that and this and that. Yeah, we're talking about Mayesh because they totally are the ones that put some photography on there, and they are using people to photograph their stuff. Or if you're like, hey, Mayesh, I think I could do a way better job than that last photographer who did your stuff. Hey, slip in there. Value yourself. Ask them, hey, I'd love an opportunity to be able to photograph this for you. You're welcome, Yvonne. You're going to get a bunch of emails and DMs asking people.
Thank you. Yeah. I have to say we do a combination, right? If you're looking at wholesalers, like for regular product photography, I have like light boxes at like 6 or 8 different branches. So that way we can take stuff on our own, or my husband will bring me back a bunch of stuff and I photograph it here in my little tiny office. And I literally have flower junk all over my floors in my house. It's a fun time, especially when I have dried and preserved. So I do that. But we do work with pro photographers all the time. So I have a photographer that I take to all my workshops. We work with photographers for all of our video shoots and all of that too. So just depends on what's going on and what we have a need for. And so, yeah, it's always good to kind of know who is interested in working with us.
For sure.
And, other wholesalers too. I know not a lot of other wholesalers are quite like us,
No.
but you never know. There might be some other opportunities out there.
But reaching out is 100%, because all they can do is say, well, not at this time or no, but you need to be able to reach out and offer something and tell us why we need you to photograph it. Right. And again, I get a lot of no's before it's a yes. So really hit the pavement a little bit, send DMs, do an email and ask, hey, I'd love to photograph your work. This is what my rates are. If you want to offer free, you can. If you want to do a significant discount, I would do that as well. Because you have to kind of get your foot in there so that you can establish, hey, this is a business relationship, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. And I love the idea about the DMs too. It just reminds me of, Gary Vee, as you guys know, he's one of my favorite guys. And he talks about like building business with Instagram and things like that. And he talks about reaching out and DMing like 5 people every single day. Like if you're really wanting to build your thing, like find 5 people, reach out to them, DM them. A lot of them are going to say no, or they're going to ignore you. But let's say you DM 5 people every single day times 7, you know how many that is. Let's say you get 1 a week, or maybe even 1 a month or whatever, but you're still doing that work to like build up that business. So if you want it and you're hungry enough, you'll knock on those doors, even if they're virtual ones.
Or push them down.
And that goes for florists too, honestly, like florists reaching out to people to collaborate with, or even potential customers or clients, corporate people. If you're looking for like micro influencers, that type of thing, there's all different ways kind of utilize the social media to kind of grow that business.
So true.
Yeah. Someone asked how they can connect with you, Drew, on Instagram. So I shared that with everyone on the comments. So there we are, Instagram.com, Rogan Fox.
Ching. I love it. I love feedback. And I read everybody's like DMs. I mean, I get a lot, but it's so cool to kind of just hear the words of encouragement and any questions that you might have. Although please don't send your clients to me asking for pricing, because I'm going to be like, girl, what? Don't be doing that. But I do read a lot of DMs, and I love the encouragement and any questions that you might have too, you guys. If you have questions for me, literally send me questions, email me. I'm always an open book for things like this. Doing lives. Mayesh is such a great forum for information. So you'll learn so much when you do these lives and jumping on Q&A. So yeah, follow along. It's pretty cool. I answer a lot of stuff.
So much fun. Do you have anything else that you want to share with everyone before we wrap this up, Drew?
I actually am pretty much done for the day. I mean, I think you guys are probably looking behind me and saying, what the crap does she have behind her, right? And I just wanted to kind of like really show you guys a little bit of the behind the scenes that kind of goes into the chicken scratch stuff that I generally do. Do you see this?
Yeah, here, let me make you bigger real quick. Let's see.
It looks like my 5-year-old literally did this. I kind of wanted to show you guys just super quick of literally the entire process behind doing some of these art pieces. Because again, a lot of people have said, wow, that's amazing. I don't know if I could actually genuinely do this or not. I don't know if I can. I'm literally just taking off a little piece of paper. And I'm sure you guys have more professional setups, all you professional little photographers, but even taking something as simple as some little paint. Where is this from? I know you guys recognize this from Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatnot. And just literally taking a regular little paintbrush and drawing literally fun lines that are random. And at first you're like, wait, what are you doing? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just drawing lines that I think I like, and just having fun with it. And you're like, oh shoot, well, like, really, is this really going to honestly work? And then I just take some florals as a fun little base. And then again, you would usually use chicken wire. Please, you guys don't use packing tape. Don't do that to your clients. But, for all intents and purposes, when you imagine just having some little forms in chicken wire, right? You have a nice little form there. When you start to cover up abstract things with other abstract color, all of a sudden it can become a really cool collage of something. And again, I don't always have a rhyme or reason to certain things that I do, but I really wanted to guys show you how different it can be and how different it can look by just putting up abstract fun things that make sense to you and using certain rules of floral design, and then getting stuck with tape. That's why you don't use tape. But using certain rules of groupings and threes and making sure that you vary heights, right? And just starting off with a fun little base of things. That's really all that I literally do when I do certain things like that, and hanging certain points at certain areas and then kind of seeing what happens with it, And at first it kind of looks like, oh my God, what is this? But you guys continue to build on until it just makes sense and it just kind of works. And again, I'm not doing a full-fledged art piece right now because it's going to be crazy. We don't have a lot of time, but I'm just kind of showing you this general example of what happens when you guys can literally add color and shape and lines to something. Because now all of a sudden when you start to layer on, and again, I know this looks like a hot mess right now, but when you start to really add in and layer colors and do different points, all of a sudden these brown lines start to disappear and you really are able to kind of see how abstract and cool it can be with color. So that's my little chicken scratch idea of what we...
So fun.
And your people were like, wait, what is this? And what does this even mean? But again, a good little basis to start off with, and just to kind of show that baby little concept. So I really want to see you guys create that piece. I'm going to probably
want to see it too.
I want to see it. Tag Mayesh and tag me and some of the creations that you guys do when you make these little baby art pieces, and start off small. I really want to see what you guys create so I can give you some really cool feedback and encourage you along the way. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be super
cool. If you tag us, we'll share. Maybe we would do a blog post and we'll link to your site and all that fun stuff. So yeah, definitely. That sounds fun. You should do a little challenge. I'll talk to Allie about it.
Wow. She's being all extra. All right.
I love extra
today on a Tuesday. Yvonne, this has been the stinking funnest, most exciting, turbo-like. I mean, if this was a live for 2020, 2021 of a complete crap show, I'm like, this is awesome. I love it. This is real life, and I had so much fun. It was like I was talking to you guys in the living room and just having everything go completely wrong. So
I love it. It's real life. It's real life. And if you guys want to get real life with us, let me know. I am looking for more design stars, guys. So I just posted a link for everyone. Make sure you check it out if you want to enter for 2022, because, I want to continue doing this and working with amazing people like Drew and all the other designers that I can't mention yet. Just you wait. I will drop a hint. Our next design star for the next 2 months commented on one of Drew's videos. That's my little hint. Yep, you can be the investigator and see if you can figure it out.
So cool. You guys, I can't wait for you guys to see what this next design star has in store. This has been the coolest honor to show you guys the inside the crazy mind of Drew Rios of Rogan Fox. I love you guys for everything, all the support, all the amazing comments. This has been an awesome thing. Well, I'm not done just yet. I'm almost done, but not just yet. So stay tuned for a couple other surprises.
I love it. Thank you so much, Drew. You are amazing. Thank you guys for joining us and rejoining us. If that was if you were with us for the first 2 minutes of the show, we really appreciate it. And I just wanted to say happy Valentine's Day. I know it's a couple days later, but I wasn't here right before Valentine's Day. I have some other shows lined up. We'll be continuing to do the lives with our design stars, and I have some other people up my sleeve. Super excited. So I'll be announcing those dates and times very, very soon. And in the meantime, just keep on sending in your floral questions. I want you guys to be a part of this conversation. And we're always happy to help. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Take care. And again, thanks for joining us. Bye, everyone.
Peace out, guys.